David, are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine?
I have been craving something simple and delicious, but I don't think it will add to my wellness routine. It's homemade cinnamon rolls.
That will add more work to your wellness routine. David, I used to put regular honey into a lot of foods, breakfast, tea, protein shakes, salad dressings, etc. But Manucora puts all other honey to shame.
What do you love about Manucora honey? Its richness, creaminess, complexity of flavor, health benefits, etc. In other words, why did you make the switch from regular honey or other sweeteners?
I like it in my tea.
I like it in my coffee with cinnamon.
I used it last week when I was sick to help with my cough.
Manucora honey is rich, creamy, and the most delicious honey you've ever had. It's ethically produced by Manucora's master beekeepers in the remote forest of New Zealand.
Manucora honey contains powerful nutrients to support immunity and gut health. It's a game changer, and all you need is 1 heaped teaspoon each morning to get the most out of the amazing bioactives in Manuka.
Additional usage through the day is completely fine, especially helping to cut out other sweeteners. It's a honey with superpowers.
Now it's easier than ever to try Manucora honey. Head to manucora.com/RBG to get $25 off the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook.
That's Manucora, MANUKORA.com/RBG for $25 off your starter kit.
Hey friends, welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas.
And I'm Melissa Trevathan.
And we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in. All right, here we are.
Here we are. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just thought we'd practice a little reciprocity.
Look at us, giving a demo right here on the outset.
Yes, actually, I'm not doing well. I need to say on the outset, if you're wondering if David has replaced me with an 85-year-old man, he has not. I am nursing something that I have been nursing for almost a week now. So I'm sorry, my voice is terrible. I have a cough drop in my mouth. I might have to do all the things, but
we're just glad you're with us.
It's that season. Well, I'm awfully glad to be with you.
Well, and I'm happy we're having this conversation
Me
because
too.
This is a really important social milestone.
It is.
And I think back to a funny story I've told before of how long I've been doing some social coaching at the dinner table at our house and reminding all 3 of my kids to ask their mom about her day and how early I did notice that clicked for my daughter and how much slower my amazing fellows were to develop that skill. But I laugh about getting a phone call from my wife one time who's a teacher, and my kids were attending the school where she teaches, and she called to say, I need to tell you something that one of your sons did today. And anytime they're only my children, it's rarely ever good news, but it was strange good news on this day. And she said, he walked into my classroom, put down his backpack, and first words out of his mouth were, Mom, how was your day? And at that point, we had only been practicing for about 8 years. So that is a reminder
so good
to keep laboring even when we don't see all the results we'd hope to see on the front side, because we got to trust the slow, steady work of development.
And let's start early.
Yes.
I was at dinner last night with our mom's very best friend, who's like my second mom, raised me a lot. And she is 86 years old. And we are sitting in this loud restaurant, and Henry, who is about to turn 6, looked at her and said, Gran, how was your day? And she looked shocked. I was so proud of him. And Aaron and Kathleen have worked really hard early on, which is one of the reasons we're having Aaron on next week on the podcast. Yes. Very excited about that.
I'm so excited too. And I love that story of how early we can be practicing. And what we're doing in this practice, I listened to a great podcast episode this week where 2 female psychologists were talking about interpersonal curiosity and how often that is lacking for a lot of boys.
Yes.
And they shared this terrifying high statistic of the number of women who get divorced and would report that as one of the primary reasons the divorce happened, that there was no interpersonal curiosity in their relationship.
Wow.
And what was interesting was they were discussing the fact that we've actually come a good ways in terms of men being able to voice emotions, but they don't know how to explore the emotions of their partner.
Wow.
And so these women reported, I felt more like a therapist than I did like a wife. And so it was all this listening, but never turn the other direction. And so that story Sissy just shared, the story I shared a little bit earlier, is the opportunity for practice on the front side when boys get to experience interpersonal curiosity, which leads to reciprocity, which is really, you all, just the back and forth of relationship, the back and forth of conversation, understanding that every healthy relationship is a two-way street that runs both directions. And so I would argue, I don't think we do enough practice in this space with boys. And I've had a lot of moms over the years say, my daughter is frustrated at dinner because her brother won't listen about her day. Now, let's laugh and say I've also had a lot of boys report my sister talks about her day for too long.
Yeah, I
So
feel certain on that.
there's some meeting in the middle,
Yes.
but that practice is foundational. What about stumbling blocks for girls? Sissy, I know you've been doing some Christmas shopping. What if I told you that I could save you time and money?
Count me in.
Well, hold on. It gets even better. Time, money, and you don't have to go to the grocery.
Now I'm really in.
It's a busy holiday season, and we all need ways to save time, money, and to simplify. Drum roll, please. Every plate's fresh, pre-portioned ingredients are cheaper than groceries, so you have more money for holiday shopping.
Explore crowd-pleasing variety with Every Plate's rotating menu of more than 25 weekly recipes, including 30 minutes or less, family faves, calorie smart, and veggie dishes.
Get ready for Thanksgiving with easy sides like apple pie crescent rolls and sweet potato casserole. Let me say it again, sweet potato casserole.
Or take a break from rich holiday foods with their collection of holiday detox recipes.
Simplify your weeks with hassle-free meals. With Every Plate, you get pre-planned, easy-to-make recipes delivered right to your door. Door, not grocery store.
With affordable dinners for just $5.99 per serving, plus 50% off your first box, Every Plate helps you save money for a stress-free holiday. Get this amazing deal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and entering code RBG599.
That's code RBG599 at everyplate.com/podcast.
David, I'm about to put up my Christmas tree. I've already done some shopping.
You are always one step ahead of me. I need to know what the boys are getting this year.
KiwiCo helped me accomplish the bulk of my shopping for them. Whit is getting the Fill It Up recycling truck set and magnetic car set. Henry is getting the marble roller coaster and the Flex and Fly plane launcher.
KiwiCo offers seriously fun gifts that are built to last. Projects that can be played with over and over again so they won't be sitting on a shelf.
KiwiCo crates encourage kids to be creative, bold, curious, and persistent through hands-on play and projects.
As a parent, it can be hard to find a creative gift to keep your children engaged, challenged, and off their screens. KiwiCo Clubs is the perfect gift for curious minds. Kids will learn fundamentals through hands-on projects and progressively build their skills with each project.
KiwiCo has 5 clubs to choose from with unique topics like science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
KiwiCo does the legwork for you so you can spend quality time tackling projects together. There's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel at any time.
Tinker, create, and innovate with awesome gifts from KiwiCo. Get up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code RBG.
That's up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code RBG.
You know, I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks for girls is introversion. And let me say, introversion for the girls themselves and introversion for the girls whose moms are extroverted is a stumbling block maybe for the moms too. And so, I think a couple things. One is I can think of a girl that I worked with years ago, which she brilliantly said, I think when it comes to relationships, I hide behind my face. And I talked to a girl just last week who is precious and so hungry for a relationship. She's really introverted. And I said, and I have a great, strong relationship with her, so I could say this, but I said, your face looks closed to me. And I know you like spending time with me, and it still looks closed. And so if it does with me, I feel certain that it does with other people. And I think it's important to gently help the introverts that we love realize some of that, while we're also helping them realize that there are superpowers in being introverted. And we love Quiet Power for Kids. It's a book for kids to read themselves.
Yes, by Susan Cain. It's fantastic.
The Hidden Gifts of the Introverted Child. Quiet is great for us to read, because I think we not only want them to help them to understand that there are a lot of gifts inherent in being introverted, and there are hurdles that they're going to have to work through, because I also can think of, I've gotten to where I even feel like I have a profile internally of a girl who I think is more often than not an Enneagram 9. She's a little peacemaker, and I just have counseled the same version of this girl now 32 times. And her parents will say to me, she's always included in the bigger birthday parties. She's not included in the smaller. She doesn't get invited over individually. And what I think is happening for those girls is, when you picture a group of 5 or 6 or 7 girls standing together, they're there in the midst of them, but they're standing on the periphery, and they're doing a lot of observing and watching, and they're smiling and they're engaged, but they don't know how to enter in. And so we're going to talk more about that in the building blocks, but we want to help them enter in. And so I would even encourage you, if you haven't listened to Awareness, that's an important one, because we talk about some of the ways we can realize what's going on. But moms, if you're listening and you think, I think that's my daughter, and I'm extroverted and I don't understand her, a couple of things. One is, I want you to know she likely needs less interaction than you do. And I see a lot of really kind, well-intentioned, extroverted moms who not only are concerned about their daughters and expressing that to me, but they're expressing that to them. And I can think of one in particular who said, I get enough social interaction at school and my sport. I don't really need a lot of other things. I like to do things on the weekend every so often. But I think because the mom kept saying, do you want to have someone over? Do you want to have someone over? She started to feel like my mom thinks something's wrong with me. And so we just want to be aware of that balance of helping them engage relationally and asking, but not so much that we start to feel like something's wrong, that they feel like we feel like something's wrong. And it's a dance.
Indeed it is.
We want to be aware. What about building?
About some building blocks?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I think it's of great importance that we camp out first when we think about kids in general. I'm going to talk boys specific of the mechanics of reciprocity. So a lot of boys are going to struggle to get down the pacing and the timing of conversation and when to pass the ball. I know I keep a Nerf football in my office. You keep a tennis ball in yours. And we'll sometimes pass the ball back and forth with kids and say, okay, when I'm holding the ball, I'll talk. When I pass it to you, I'm going to ask a question. And then eventually you're going to be passing it back to me. And I'm going to argue that a lot of bright boys forget to pass the ball back. And they do a lot of instructing, but not conversing. It's a monologue, not a dialogue. I talk a lot about how those boys have a tendency to talk at me and not with me. And I think it's important to get down those mechanics of conversation and relationship first. I'll sometimes, with those young men, even set a timer on my phone and say, let's see if we can figure out how long is too long to be talking about something I'm interested in before I pass the ball back.
That's so good.
Again, those amazing boys who are really bright, who have a lot of knowledge and who have strong cognitive muscles, just often can have some weaker emotional and social muscles. And we've got to, as we keep talking about, just flex those muscles more. Sissy, I talk with parents every day about kids who struggle with sleep, falling asleep or staying asleep.
Because I see so many girls with anxiety. You know I talk about that regularly in my office.
Well, folks know we've been talking about high vitamins for a long time around here, and I recommend you check out New Kids Probiotic and Nighttime Essentials.
Great idea. And don't forget about their amazing vitamins. Typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy junk growing kids should never eat.
That's why Hiya was created, the pediatrician-approved, super-powered, chewable vitamin.
Hiya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door so parents have one less thing to worry about. You know I keep them at my house for the boys. We have them at the lake house and, of course, their house.
And those fellas love decorating their bottle with the stickers that comes with your first order. I have seen them shaking those bottles like percussion instruments.
And Haya just launched an awesome new collab. The same multivitamin that more than 1 million kids and parents love are now available in Barbie Pink with a limited edition Barbie unboxing experience, including Barbie bottle and Barbie stickers.
We've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/RBG.
This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/RBG and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
Have you put up your tree yet?
I'm about to. Have you?
We're adding something to our tree this year, and I'm waiting for it to arrive.
What is it?
It's a baby gate that will go around the tree to keep a 4-month-old Labrador puppy from pulling off the ornaments or peeing on the tree.
That's probably a great idea.
You know who is helping make that happen? Our good friends at Wayfair. Wayfair has everything you need for humans and canines to create holiday magic at home, whether you're honoring time-tested traditions or looking to make new memories.
They have everything you need to celebrate the holidays your way while staying within your budget. I ordered a wreath, Christmas lights, outdoor Christmas decorations, and a cozy blanket.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things about Wayfair? Free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, and they'll even help you set it up.
Set the scene for new holiday memories with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now to get your home holiday ready.
That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
I'm glad you brought that up because tennis is certainly my favorite way to teach reciprocity with girls and to talk about it. And I think tennis in a couple ways. One, conversationally. So I ask a question, then I wait for you to ask a question, and that we practice using the same ball, because sometimes I think girls can do a good job of back and forth conversationally, but I'm not talking about I'm waiting for you to finish talking about you so I can talk about myself. And in group, we will really lean into that a lot to say, okay, when she said that, what do you want to say back? We don't even let them say, well, when that happened to me, that's kind of a no-no to say in our group counseling sessions. And so helping girls be aware of, I pass the ball, you pass me the same ball back, and that we practice and we role play that. And we want to make sure we're not raising girls who are serving all the time or receiving all the time, like David talked about, because I think a lot of girls are going to lean one way or the other. They're going to not know how to talk as much about themselves. And this is one of the places I love the Enneagram.
Yes.
Because, and I know we're not supposed to type kids, but I think we can be aware of where certain kids can lean, because the Enneagram 2s in our lives, it's so sweet to be with an Enneagram 2 because they ask us a lot of questions and we get to talk about ourselves. And kids who are growing up can do that to the degree that I think sometimes the person on the receiving end of it feels good in the beginning and then they feel like they don't know your child because your child's not talking about themselves. And so are they asking so many questions? Are they talking so much? Because as you said, there's certainly girls who will talk on and on and on and on and not have awareness of that. So conversationally, but also relationally in general. And in the same way, I have a lot of girls who are more introverted that are always waiting for someone to approach them. They're waiting for someone to ask them to spend time together. They're waiting for someone to ask them a question. And I will say to girls sometimes, which doesn't sound very kind, but no one's going to follow you into the corner. You've got to reach out to somebody else. And so thinking about, are they always on the waiting end or are they asking? Because I can think of a mom who I wrote about her in the Are My Kids on Track book, but her daughter had a girl who she used to be friends with, and the girl wasn't paying as much attention to her. And so this mom said, we're just prioritizing kindness. And so she's going to keep asking. And so what happened was, relationally, this girl kept serving the ball and asking her old friend over and over and over. And I think something that's important to help our girls with, and I think we've got to say it with a lot of grace, but desperation is a turnoff relationally with girls. And so I think if they're trying too hard and if we're facilitating that, I don't think we're doing them a service relationally. And so ask that friend over and then wait for them to ask you back and ask another one in the meantime. We just want to be aware of where our girls lean in terms of reciprocity so we can help them relationally.
Yes, I love it.
Do you have
Should
a
we talk
practical
about some
idea?
practical?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to throw out a practical that I call 3 questions that I've used a lot with boys over the years. And it's having 3 questions kind of tucked away in their back pocket. I'll even have teenage boys put it on their phone so they've got it on the ready that they could ask in conversation that, again, this is an ingredient of interpersonal curiosity when they feel stuck in the conversation and don't know how to move the ball down the field. And I'll even
We're doing a lot of sports analogies today.
We are. Yes, we are. I love even fine-tuning that to the time of year. So it's fall break in our Nashville schools right now. We're headed toward Thanksgiving break, Christmas break. So I'll practice during those breaks. When you get back to school, what questions would be helpful? Asking, how was your Thanksgiving break? Did you stay home or did you go somewhere? Like having these questions in mind so that I have a sense of how to enter into the relationship, particularly when I feel overwhelmed at times about carrying the conversation forward. Or as we talked about with the mechanics, the pacing and the rhythm aren't as instinctive for me. So having these questions helps me do the back and forth a little more successfully. What about
good
for girls?
Well, that's funny. I'm going to come back to that. But I'm going to say 2 quick things. One is I really do want you to try the tennis ball idea at the table. And it could be fun that you have a basket that every couple weeks you just set in the center of the table with a tennis ball. And they know immediately when they get to the table, that's what you're going to do that time. Obviously, you might have to help the boys on not chunking the tennis ball at someone at the table. But I think that can be a practical, fun thing to do. And then I love the same idea. I think not just with boys, but it's so interesting, y'all. Over the years, every time, I have asked a girl, is it hard to know what to ask somebody when you're sitting next to them in unstructured times? Every single time they've said yes, which says to me, girls have a harder time than we're aware too. And so I love for girls to have questions, and it can be about any of those things. I think girls can also ask about academics. Boys might not want to talk about that as much, but girls could say, how'd you feel about the test? Or how was your homework last night? Have you seen this movie? Or if there's a show that's appropriate that everyone's watching, I will sometimes have kids recommend to parents that the kids watch a show, even if it's a little edgy, not way edgy, but a little edgy, if every kid is talking about it, just because I want them to be able to stay in the game conversationally. And I remember y'all did something. I don't know if you remember this, but I thought it was brilliant with Lily years ago about High School Musical. Do you remember this?
Yes.
You want to tell them what you did?
Watched the trailer.
Yes. And I think you watched some of the dances.
Yes.
Just so she could talk about it.
So you don't have to watch the whole show. Watch the trailer, watch a few of the scenes so that they can participate in the conversation enough to feel like I have something to contribute.
Yes. So reciprocity is so important. And we have talked about that in the last 3 years, we have seen kids struggle relationally more than ever. We had no idea, obviously, when we wrote Are My Kids on Track, we felt like it was important. But, I mean, I think our last several books we would both feel like are really important. But this one just, y'all, I think we need to really lean in all the ways. And we've got the book if you want to do a deeper dive, and we've got courses available as well.
All the options.
All the options. So grateful for you guys. Cheering you on.
Yes, we are.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible.
Amanda Young, our operations manager.
Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at H Squared.
And we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.